do here is go back.
And there we go. Good evening, everybody. It's Saturday, the 18th of July, 2020. Hopefully you're all doing well. And yeah, welcome to tonight's stream. So, what a week we've had so far. This has been one of the weirdest weeks I've known in a long time, both for me personally and also in the tech industry, YouTube in general, social media, the whole shooting match. It's just been a very, very weird week. And who'd have thought 2020 was going to be as weird as it's been so far? This has by far been possibly one of the worst years I've ever known as a child, adult, whatever. It's been pretty effed up. Let's be completely real about it. It's been absolutely insane. So many things we could talk about tonight. But what I thought I'd do is, rather than talk about the things which are obvious at the moment, with certain goings on in the kind of YouTube journalistic press and all those kinds of things that we've probably heard all about, and you know what it's like. Today's news is tomorrow's chip paper, so we're going to move on from that whole thing and we're going to do something which is actually practical and useful to most of you, and that is trying to clean up dirty old hardware which you're maybe trying to sell on, or maybe just refurbishing, or maybe you just found it in the bottom of a drawer somewhere and it's all dusty and filthy and you want to spring some life back into it, but you want to take it apart, clean it all up, make it all look good, all that kind of usual stuff. So we're going through, do some cleaning up, taking apart, repasting, cleaning up, and I'll show you some of my personal favourite tips and some of the tips I picked up along the way, and various products you can use which actually do make a massive difference. There's all sorts of things you can use, and when you're cleaning a PC or components, be that a graphics card, a CPU fan, motherboard, whatever it is, there's only so much you can do as far as the visuals are concerned. You can get a black marker pen out and colour things in, or you can put treatments on it to make it look shiny and bright and all that kind of thing, or maybe silicone sprays, that kind of thing. But what a lot of people don't take into consideration is actually the smell of components. Now, if you're in a house where there's been heavy smokers, or maybe you've bought a component or a monitor, whatever it is, from a household where there's either a vapor, a smoker, maybe pets, dogs, maybe you've got kind of allergy or sensitivity to those kinds of smells. That is one thing that a lot of people overlook, and that is the actual physical smell of hardware. Hardware, like anything, as it gets warmer, it starts smelling stronger. Anyone will know this if you've been into a cold car. A cold car, generally, if there's a problem or it's got a kind of feisty smell, it's not too bad when it's cold. But as soon as you crank up those heaters and get a bit of heat flowing through it, it just gets worse and worse. I don't know what it is, but generally, anything that gets hot smells stronger. Exactly the same applies to CPUs, motherboards, graphics cards, all those kinds of things. As soon as they start generating a little bit of heat, you may get it cold and be like, yeah, it's okay, it's good to go. But you get this thing hot under a lot of load, with the fans ramped up as well, and if there's any kind of dog smells or cat smells or maybe tobacco smoke, that kind of thing, it's going to start flowing around the case and it's going to be sent into the room, because obviously there's fans, and that's the last thing you want, especially if you're trying to pass off some of these components as being kind of nearly new. So we've got some good tips on how to get rid of all those kinds of things, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. First of all, as always on the streams, we'll say hello to some of you that are already in the chat box and making yourselves known. And we've got 34 concurrent viewers on already. That's pretty good going. So Angry Doge is in first place as per usual. British Noob is in also. Paul Bakewell, Dave Burns, Aletta Liano. I sometimes struggle with that name. David Aitken. Who else have we got? Kath Churchill, obviously, because she's sat obvious. Sat over there even. Words is hard today, everybody. Sky Stalker, who's on vacation, taking some time out to join us. Thank you. ClickTech Kev's in the house. Welsh Tony's unboxing reviews and guides. Matthew Day. No doubt Matthew is going to be tucking into some bargain basement breakfast. What we got today, Matthew? We got fish cakes for dinner. Good choice.
And plants.
And other yellow sticky bargains. And some plants. Nice. Try and eat the fish cakes, not the plants. Although some plants you can eat.
I'm not going to plant-based diet.
Alexa says, wake me up if someone starts serving pizza. David Aitken's got a hangover. That will happen if you consume alcohol. It's like death and taxes. It's definitely going to happen. Who else we got? Clint Sam says, evening all. Maxwell Kingston says, oh yes. AKA Liam says hi. Nigel Thomas says, good evening all. Who else we got? David Burns. Said that many times. Aletta says 2020 needs to be formatted and reinstalled. It definitely does. It is, yeah. It's definitely been a weird one. Gary's in the house as well. I'm not sure how to pronounce Gary's surname, so I don't know whether to give it a go. Shall I give it a go, Kath?
Yeah.
Gary Saitka. Maybe.
Siatka?
Siatka? One of them's going to be right. Ricardo says, cleaning class. Oh yes, today we'll be cleaning up, hopefully, and not ruining things. That is often a thing that happens when people start cleaning components or taking things apart and just thinking, oh no, I'll just chuck it in the dishwasher. No, actually, some of those things you can actually do. Obviously, if you've watched Linus Tech Tips, then you would have possibly seen the video where he put a load of keyboards through the dishwasher, and miraculously, after drying out, they all worked, which I wouldn't have expected. ClickTech Kev says, remember those noisy GFX cards we bought? Still haven't opened mine. Oh, there's mine. Alive and still actually not too bad. But we're going to give it a clean up anyway, because as it's been used, it's been basically on the shelf in here. It has been in a couple of builds momentarily. But it's one of those cards which actually has got quite a nice back plate. It actually looks the real deal. It's got pretty decent heat pipes. So I think if this was taken apart, cleaned up, take some really nice pictures for Facebook Marketplace or maybe eBay. Yeah, I think we could actually sell this and not do too badly on it at all. And I've just realised actually I must have drilled this one at some point as well, because it's actually got the holes as I did with my RX 580. There's also got holes in it. I must have drilled that to try and put some coolers on as well. This one did have really awful fans, so they've been replaced. So these fans are basically brand new and have had very, very limited use. They've not been used in anger, that's for sure. Anyway, let's go back. Captain Meets Adventure says, Mike, you live from Halfords tonight? Halfords, no.
I'm not allowed to say that word.
I'm not allowed to say the H word. I'm not allowed to use that company's name because I work for a small independent, which is basically a competitor, but I would argue that we're not a competitor because we are in a completely different class, although we do sell the same sort of stuff. So if you look closely, you can actually see on the label, hopefully, if it zooms in, it might do. You can actually see the company that I work for. Putting it out there, so if anyone can see it. Is it visible, Kath?
Not really.
Not really? Oh well, you'll have to guess. Some of you know anyway. Those of you that are in the Discord chat probably know where I work anyway. But actually we've got some car cleaning products, so if you have got car cleaning products knocking around at home, this is going to make your life a lot easier. So we've actually got two things actually from Wins. We've got a Wins glass cleaner with lemon fragrance. There's a good reason why we got that, which we'll come on to a little bit later. We've also got Wins electrical contact cleaner. It's pretty much obvious what that is for. And we've got the good trusty old WD-40, which Kath has actually been using to clean out our shithouse, but I actually use it for pretty much everything.
It didn't work, by the way.
It didn't work very well on the toilet, but actually it done all right on the rusty door hinges in the bathroom, so we don't get woken up on a night time now with George going in for a dump at 2 o'clock in the morning. So there's that to it. That's where a tight benefit. And not being woken up is probably worth $6.99 alone. If you want to get one of these, motorpartsdownend.com, I think. You can look it up.
Turtle wax does not help GPUs.
No, turtle wax doesn't help GPUs, whoever said that. That is completely right. Who else we got in tonight? Reese Nico says, hey mate, cheers for doing reviews on budget items. Really helped me decide whether to purchase them or not. Cheers, thanks for watching.
You missed a bunch of them.
Ricardo says, that card is really massive. It certainly is. And Gary says, Kath is right. Well, it had to happen.
First time.
Jax Teller says, I just had a Lebanese chicken shawarma wrap. Oh, suits you, sir. Lebanese wraps. If you haven't had a Lebanese wrap, they are amazing. There used to be a place in Bristol called Magic Roll, and they used to make those Lebanese wraps, and they were the absolute shizzle. Brilliant. I love them. And I would have bought the shop. I literally would have. Pixelbite says, hello, how are you? I put thermal paste, liquid metal, and max temps 55C on GPU. That's pretty decent. Kevin Knight says, hello. Hello to you. I think that's, have I caught up now? Welsh Tony says, do you even English, Mike? Coming from a Welsh person.
Over by there.
Yeah, let's not get into that. That's xenophobia. We're not allowed to do that. ClickTechCo says, looks like Mike has raided the shop. I do actually have receipts for all this, which I do give to the tax man, because all this stuff, if you're, maybe you're a sole trader or you're self-employed or whatever, all these kinds of things for cleaning up your hardware and whatever, you can claim it back from your tax rebates. Obviously, I don't know what your tax situation is or what taxes you pay, etc. But this kind of stuff, if you use it for doing general stuff like this, you might as well claim for it. Why not? And if you have to spray a little bit in the hinges maybe somewhere, hey, what the heck. Same for me with the
hinges with the camera going.
Yeah, Arctic MX4. Get through tons of this stuff, so we claim for it on the tax allowance. Part and parcel. And actually, I just realised my new gaming chair has got a bit of a squeak. I have to get the WD-40 on it later. Who else we got? Yeah, Dave Burns says turtle wax does not help GPUs. No, it probably doesn't. Now, actually, Paul Bakewell's put up a good thing there, actually, which is worth mentioning. WD-40 fixes anything. Now, actually, it is a common misconception that WD-40 is actually a lubricant. It isn't. It isn't a long-term lubricant. It is essentially, it's designed as a short-term lubricant for releasing seized items, like if you've got a rusty chain on your bike, if you've got a squeaky door hinge, those kinds of things. That essentially is what it's designed for. It's designed for freeing. It's like, almost like plus gas here in the UK, which you spray onto sort of threads and nuts and bolts that you can't undo, let it penetrate in, and generally it will ease it out. WD-40 is the same. It does actually evaporate. It does leave a slight residue, which could in some cases be classed as a lubricant, but it isn't a de facto lubricant as such. It does evaporate quite a lot, and it doesn't have a massively good lubricating effect long term. Short term, absolutely fine, but mostly it's for removing water from components and also for stopping things rust. So yeah, but actually it says on the front, stops squeaks, drives out moisture, cleans and protects, loosens rusted parts, and frees sticky mechanisms. It isn't actually a lubricant. So don't ever use WD-40 on a cycle chain that you plan on keeping, or at least if you do, make sure you oil it or grease it properly afterwards, because otherwise leave it out in the rain a couple of days, it'll be rusty as hell. So don't do that. There you go, you've learned things today, people. Tristan G says elbow grease is a good cleaner. Right on, certainly is. David Aitken says Magic Roll is the best. Yes. David, is Magic Roll still open in the centre of Bristol? I may have to venture from the suburbs. Glenn's also in the house tonight. Who else have we got?
Yes, it is.
What's that?
Magic Roll.
Magic Roll is still open. Ooh. Magic Roll. Magic Roll.
That's what you called it.
Here, mate. Get me down that Magic Roll.
You're telling the kids off for not speaking right.
Welsh Tony says, I got loads of squeaky joints. WD-40 doesn't really work on me. No, it's not for human consumption either.
Look at Captain Meats, he's terrible.
Captain Meats Adventure says WD-40 is for hinges, not minges. British Noob says WD-40 helped me fix my keyboard.
Did it help with his webcam?
Yeah, you should have put some on the webcam before you hurled it out the window. It would have gone faster through the air with all that extra relatively low friction. Well, Tony's demonetized. Yeah. Ricardo says, I use isopropyl alcohol to clean the components. Yep, that's essentially electrical contact cleaner. I think it's pretty much 100% isopropyl alcohol, just in a propellant rather than actually a juice, or a jus as they call it in cookery programs. No, it doesn't actually say. But it says it cleans and degreases, leaves no residue, quick drying, safe for ECUs, and it cleans CDs and DVDs. Remember those?
Can you answer OA? Can you say it?
Okay, we'll do a quick tech question, seeing it is the only one I've got at the moment. Oas Shaki? I'll probably pronounce that wrong. I do apologise if I did. Could you please reply to my question? Yes, I can. Do you recommend the Auros B550 Pro or the Auros B550 Elite for Ryzen 5 1600? Essentially, they're both pretty much the same. There's not a lot in them. The Auros Pro gets an additional M.2 cover or sync. I believe it also gets the USB Type-C connection on the rear. And there is something else. Oh, the audio. So it got enhanced audio as well. And a little bit more RGB because it's on the actual I/O plate. But really, in the grand scheme of things, you'd be hard pressed to work out the difference between the two in actual performance stakes. But if you need that extra M.2 and you need it to keep cool, or you need really good sound quality, then that is really the main difference. The Pro, I believe, has got the Realtek 892, I want to say, and the Pro version's got the ALC 1220 from memory. I might be wrong, so do double check that, but I think that's pretty much a real difference. Tristan G says the electrical parts cleaner should be plastic safe and fast evaporating. Does it say plastic safe? Well, actually it says you can use it on CDs and DVDs, and they're essentially plastic, so I'm going to give that a thumbs up. I've actually used it many times, and actually I might have to get another one because it's almost empty. Some of this conversation is not safe for work, so I won't read out some of this. But as per usual, Captain Me's Adventure is
Tony.
just taking it over and gone.
Welsh Tony, Captain Me, Kev, and the British noob should not be talking to each other here.
No, they're a bad influence on each other. Aletta brings up a good comment. Actually, if you need really good sound, get a good sound card. It's very true. John Canning says, I love this guy, Bristol's finest. Right on, brother. Bristol represent. Okay, right. I think we've done it on questions now. Let's flex a little bit. So, going to limber up. Limbering up is not necessary. But actually, I'll tell you what is necessary is a quick swig of tea. I've got no alcohol in the house, so tea it is. It's either that or spiced rum, and that's not going to be pretty if I do that. Okay, so first, what?
Again. To the
No, it's already been answered.
Oh, right.
Jack Steller says, put a bit of spiced rum in the tea. That's not a bad idea.
We have it in coffee.
Yeah, we do have it with coffee, and it is actually damn fine with coffee. Okay, so things that you may or may not use for cleaning a graphics card, motherboard, whatever. In fact, actually, I cleaned a monitor today. Actually, before I get into this, today has been a good day. Seriously, been a good day. So those of you that are, I don't know if I mentioned it last week or not, but I probably mentioned it on Discord. Last week I picked up a 24-inch monitor, which was the Iyama ProLight 2483HS, which is an older monitor. It's like 75 Hz, 1080p. It's a VA screen, not IPS, but it's not bad. And I picked it up last week. I think it's about £40 plus a couple of quid for postage, well, delivery, because it's from a Facebook Marketplace. And it didn't have a stand. And I thought, well, that's all right, it's not a problem. I'm sure I can find a stand really easily, and yeah, I might even wall mount it. So I got it absolutely fine, a little bit dirty, a few marks on it here and there, but I thought, well, it's okay. But then I thought, I'll try and mount it. Couldn't mount it on the wall, so I gave up essentially and put it to one side. And then on Facebook Marketplace, one of my favorite places to visit, there was another monitor, exactly the same spec. So, well, almost exactly the same spec, same model number, slight difference on the I/O on the back, but it was on there for £20. I was like, oh my god, I can have two monitors the same, wrap around 3D vision, up to 48 inches of real estate, and it's only going to cost me like £60, £70. This is too good to be true. And it had the stand on it as well, which I may or may not use. So I thought, brilliant, I'll go for it. Turned out it was somebody in Thornbury, which for those of you local to Bristol or know Bristol, Thornbury is like way, way, way out there. And I said, look, I can't go that far. It's a bit too far for me to travel. I'm over in where I am. And the guy turned around and said, well, funny enough, I'm in your neighbourhood later on this evening. Do you want me to drop it round for you? It's like, oh my God, this is fate. So I picked it up and he said, look, it's dirty. I haven't used it for ages. It's filthy. It really needs a really good clean. So that is why this has been on the tongue, kind of tip of my tongue today. And actually the monitor is in the background now. So I'm not sure if you can actually see, you can just about see the corner of it. But if you were to see this in real life, in the close and personal, you would not think that that monitor is like 5-6 years old and was filthy. It looks, well, I've replaced it with the one that was there before, my Acer Nitro. So that is, well, yeah, that's a testament to it. It just looks fantastic. I cleaned the screen. I've used screen cleaner, which actually I haven't got on the desk. Oh yeah, I have, sorry. I used the Winds glass cleaner, which actually is brilliant because the Winds glass cleaner, yeah. This has actually got tobacco removing stuff in it as well. So if there's any tobacco residue, it actually neutralizes the tobacco smells and all that kind of stuff and gets it all off. And it's brilliant. Literally, if you get just a normal glass window and just spray it on, it's like a foam spray, and you can actually just watch it going down and it changes color. You can see where it actually takes the kind of tobacco stains off of stuff. It's absolutely brilliant. So definitely worth getting that. It's safe on glass, mirrors, plastics, all that kind of stuff. And
what about your head?
It made the screen come up absolutely brilliantly. Got rid of every single mark, every single speck, even the stuff which I thought that might even be a scratch. It looks so bad, or like a dent in the screen or a chip, and it brought it up absolutely amazingly. So definitely, if you're thinking about getting some glass cleaner, this kind of stuff you can buy, and it's like wife friendly because you can use it all around the house. Kath uses it on all the mirrors in the house and stuff, and it doesn't smear. It's just really good shit stuff.
If you use it on your head.
I don't use it on my head. Should do, really. So yeah, that is a fantastic cleaner. Now what people don't always do after is when you clean monitors, especially the front panel, it gives you that kind of really kind of dull matte finish, which isn't always great, especially if you're trying to sell something. So the trick is then actually to get your WD-40. So get WD-40, put your panel flat down, so it's just face up, spray some WD-40 towards the middle, just light spray, don't plaster it in that stuff because it's going to stay on there. But what you'll do is just lightly dust it over, and then using a microfiber cloth or some sort of lint-free cloth, or maybe an old t-shirt, maybe a Mike's Unboxing t-shirt, which you can pick up from our Patreon site. Get one of those and literally just gently wipe around, and you can see it cut, see the cut. We don't care if we don't use Click Tech t-shirts for cleaning in the household, we honestly don't.
Sorry, Kevin, I'm joking.
Just use that and really gently with the cloth, just rub it around in a circular motion. Don't use the edges of the cloths because they can scratch the screens. So you've got to be careful. So kind of fold it over a few times and get a nice flat bit of the material, and doing a gently circular motion right around all the edges. You can literally see the screen changing colour, and it goes from that kind of weird kind of stripped back plastic to like a really nice satin matte finish, which again, if you're trying to sell a screen and you've got somebody coming around to view it and it's off or whatever, it's on display somewhere in a shop or whatever the case may be, if you want it to look its best, WD-40 is brilliant for that because it does evaporate, like I said, the oily part of it, but if you use it as like a polish, it is brilliant on plastic parts. And you'll see it in a minute when I do the when I do this graphics card. It'll come up and it'll look pretty much like brand spanking new, which I suppose really we should actually get on and do. So we've got our Dyson vacuum, so we'll be using that. What?
John Cunnings wants to know where we're from.
John Cunnings, where's Mike from? I live near Thornbury. Not quite. We're kind of, we're on the boundaries of South Gloucestershire. that kind of makes any sense. And Bristol, yeah. Literally a couple of streets over and it changes into Bristol. We're South Gloucestershire. But technically it's in Bristol. Ninja47 says, have we already talked about Henry Cavill building a PC? No, but Jay's 2 cents, no doubt will, and all the other YouTubers will get themselves all a little hard on about it, no doubt. Sorry. You know it's going to happen.
Inflammatory because you said little.
Oh yeah, sorry. Big boner. Right, first thing to do, get a vacuum and vacuum off as much of the dust as you possibly can. Now obviously, for those of you that have just been had your ears destroyed, I do apologise. If you haven't got a vacuum, you can use air duster, which I should have actually in here somewhere. Oh, that's never going back in there. Oh, drop the camera. So you can get that. I got this one from ebuyer.com. It's HFC free air duster, and literally just compressed air in a can. So you can spray things in it. It's not very high performance stuff. You can get a nozzle for it, but it's pretty lame. Doesn't really do a great deal and just feels really cold. So I don't really recommend that. I would go for a vacuum. A vacuum is generally a little bit better because you've got those bristles on there so you can get right into all the nooks and crannies. So once you've done that and give it a good vacuum, you've got rid of pretty much the bulk of the dust, then you can start stripping things down. Now, ideally you want to do this on a static free environment. This cloth is probably not the best thing to do it on, to be completely honest with you. But doing things slightly abstract way or slightly maverick, that's what we do. Because not everyone's got the luxury of having a static free environment, and I would pretty much guarantee that some of you somewhere out there watching this right now have probably taken apart a graphics card or built a PC on a thick shaggy pile carpet or on your bed on the continental quilt, which isn't an anti-static environment. So your decision where you want to do it to. If you want to do it in complete safety in like a clean room with a static strip and all that kind of stuff, fine, cool, knock yourself out, probably is the best way of doing it. But for those of you that can't do that or haven't got that, just be careful and don't rub balloons on your head while you're doing it. That is generally a bad thing and should only be performed by clowns, figuratively and realistically. Welsh Tony says, watch for the static when vacuuming. That is very true. The nozzles on most vacuums, on the ends, they are actually nylon nozzles, so when you're rubbing nylon together you can generate some static, so there is that to be slightly cautious of. Most modern components generally tend to be pretty resilient, so I wouldn't be overly concerned, but obviously just be careful. Actually, do you want to close that?
Do you want to go out thing?
Okay, so we've taken the screws out now, so now we can remove, I think we can take this one straight off actually. Does this come off completely or is there more screws? I think, actually there's 2 more screws which hold on the VRM heatsink, so we're going to use a smaller screw for that. Ninja47 says, I always build my PCs on a carpet, lol. If I had carpet, I would build it on them. But I don't, I have laminate, so I can't, unfortunately. Where have we got carpet in the house?
Got the rug.
We've got a rug, we could always build it on that, I suppose. Yeah.
Captain Meats asked, any advice on making the slot lubricated before inserting your hardware?
I can't think of anything particularly. Maybe a McDonald's thick shake? That might help.
Or some ham?
Yeah, ham. Ham's always good. Especially that stuff that has kind of preservatives and it's all wet and dripping.
Like he features on his channel.
Okay, so with the cooler off, this is the top section, and actually this doesn't look to be in very bad condition at all. It has got the thermal pad at the top, which has got the indentations into it, so that has been on there a little while. But it's you can tell if these need replacing. If you press it and it feels spongy, it's okay. So this is still spongy, it's got a bit of rebound to it, so that means it's going to make a really good contact. If it doesn't feel spongy or it's dried and cracked, then ideally you want to replace that. You can, if you want to, you can just peel it off and turn it round and put it the other way round. But for all intents and purposes, that's absolutely fine. So you want to get yourself a clean cloth or some tissue, maybe some isopropyl alcohol or electrical contact cleaner, and just put a little dab in the middle of the graphics card. And that'll start loosening up all of the heat-seek compound. Kath, sorry, can you pass that blue roll over, please?
Oh, have you wet yourself again?
Not yet. Thank you. Shop towel is always really useful to have as well.
Okay.
Also available from Motor Parts.
You said the name now.
Yeah. So if you leave the isopropyl alcohol in there, it will evaporate mostly. The Wins one, I deliberately bought it because it actually is quite a slow one to evaporate. It does take a lot longer than some of the other ones I've used. And you don't really want it to evaporate too quickly because you want to use its kind of cleaning and lubrication purposes, because an electrical contact cleaner can also be used to lubricate switches. So if you've got a switch which doesn't work, maybe an electrical switch, on off switch, or in your car, in a car it's perfect. Central locking switches, if those are not working properly or a little bit iffy, get some electrical contact cleaner, give that a blast in there, and 9 times out of 10 it will come up very, very nice.
Have you got your spray dust? Yeah. Like Dave Aikens killed a laptop with a vacuum because the bristles shorted.
So there we go. There is the base, completely clean and not a speck on it. It's almost reflective. Pretty decent.
You see your face in it.
Hey Google, turn on the studio lights. That's better. Getting a bit dark. It is night time. So that is that side clean. So next up is to clean the actual card itself. So what I would suggest is, because you've got thermal paste on here, you don't really want to be rubbing that all around the rest of the graphics card. And also, I would pretty much guarantee that a lot of that is going to be congealed on. So again, exactly the same thing. Get your electrical contact cleaner and spray it pretty much on the CPU die. Then let it settle for a little bit. Get yourself another bit of blue roll. Now you can, if you want to, if you're feeling particularly brave, get a small flat-headed screwdriver. Ideally not a metal one, but for all intents and purposes this is going to do the same thing. You can use those little plucks or pucks that you use for separating mobile phones or plastic casings, but you can use this to kind of chip off some of the heat paste that is around the outside edge of the GPU. So I'm just going to trim along there a little bit. So you do that and then wipe it off on your shop towel. Kath says I've got to read something. She's making me work again. Dave Aikens, I can't see where Dave Aikens has said anything.
He's right at the bottom.
Not
Says,
mine,
I
it's not.
separate the fans, then wash off the heatsink and plastic cosmetic trim parts in a bowl of warm water. Then dry them off with a towel.
Oh yeah, see it. So Dave Aiken, yeah, I separate the fans and wash off the heatsink and plastic cosmetic trim parts in a bowl of warm water, then dry them off with a towel, stroke hairdryer. Gets the cards looking super fresh. Actually, that is a really, really good way of doing it. But if I get a bowl of water anywhere near this stream setup tonight, it could all end in tears. So I'm going to do that.
Baby.
So we're just gently scraping around the outside edge. Get rid of as much of this goo as we can. Again, being gentle. Don't want to damage any of the surface mounted capacitors or components, because that will be bad. And don't forget, when you're cleaning a GPU, the GPU itself, the actual bit you can see, the processor top bit, is the core. There's no protection. That is basically as naked as it gets. So if you damage it in any way, shape or form, it is pretty much game over. So I'm just going to wipe around the outside of here now. Also,
Burns used cocktail sticks to get the outer paste off, dipped in alcohol.
That's a good idea, actually.
You want one?
Cocktail sticks. No, I'm alright, I think.
And the noob uses a nice bread knife.
Noob uses a bread knife. That doesn't surprise me. So we've got most of it off now, so now we give it a good liberal dosing. Really get that in there. And if you can, again, probably not the best of ideas, but it certainly does work for me. Get a brush and just try and agitate it in and around. And that should get rid of any residue. Just jab it.
What's Tony saying? What's going on with the front of the PC case behind you? It looks like loads of vertical slots in the front panel.
Yeah, that is the case on display behind me is, yeah, how do I explain it? How do I explain it, Cass? It's the Sharkoon Rev, no, the Sharkoon Lit 100. What, the box?
Yeah, but you can't see that.
Oh, you can see the PC though, can't you? It's there.
No, if you got it that way round. Thought the window was on the wrong side.
No, it's the old one, isn't it? Have you gone mad?
Oh, I get you. So why does the front panel look like lines?
Because it's got lines on it. Don't be daft.
You can't see them from... Yeah, but look. You can't see them.
Oh, the lines, it might be those lines there. Ventilation lines.
Vertical.
Yeah, there's vertical lines there. It's got holes in it for ventilation. Wow.
Sorry, that took a long time.
Right, so now the core is completely shiny and ow, that hurt my elbow. So let's put this in front of the screen. So hopefully you can see that now. And I can see a little bit of a reflection going on there. There is a little bit of delay. You can see it's shiny. British Noob says it looks worse that way. Some people are never satisfied. So that is the majority of the card done. So what I would do now is just give it a light blast all over. This stuff is actually flammable, so don't do this when you're smoking, because it'll be bad. And again, with the brush, just gently dab it. And that will get off any slightly more difficult pieces of dirt or dust.
Ninja47 asks, what are your thoughts on RTX cards? Would you prefer cheaper non-RTX cards because RTX needs different cores, making them more expensive to manufacture?
RTX cards, personally, I don't see the need for them at the moment. But with a large caveat of at the moment, until the games come out from the Xbox and things like that, that's when things will definitely start changing. So hopefully you can see on that card now, there's some slightly sort of more wet areas, more wet than others. So basically it's going to let that dry off. I think that's...
Should we worry about static electricity and whatnot when cleaning a GPU?
Not really. You shouldn't really, well, it's always good to be cautious about static and all that kind of stuff, but realistically, like I said, most components, modern components now, are pretty resilient. They're really well made. Essentially, a lot of them are isolated, so unless you're kind of rubbing it on your shirt or your jumper, or you genuinely, like maybe in a chair, a plastic chair, and you're kind of scooting along the floor, and if you've got that sort of static feeling in your arms and your hairs are rising on your arms, obviously don't touch your graphics card or your GPU. That's a bad idea. Don't do it. What's the matter, Kath?
Noob wants that put back.
I know.
Roger Tony says he can see himself.
Oh dear. That's never good. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. That's better. Okay.
Vacan's asked what GPU is that?
What GPU it is? Yeah, I think British Noob's right. Actually, it's the R9. No, actually, which one is this? No, this is the RX 580. That one there is the R9 380.
Where's the 370? 570.
That the 570 is actually in there.
Maybe they are talking about that.
That's my daily driver. Yeah, if you're Pikachu, then probably don't want to touch stuff either. Okay, so that is that part of it done. Let that dry off for a bit. You could, at this point, if you wanted to, if you're feeling particularly adventurous, you can actually take off the back plate. Actually, what the hell, let's do that. There's a million screws to hold it on, but might as well do the job. And you never know, there might actually be a build-up of dust behind the back plate, which could lead to a short circuit. So we can check that. And British Noob has sent in a super chat of £2. It says, thanks for putting the PC back.
The light hasn't come on.
But yeah, for some reason the disco light bulb hasn't come on.
Bueller?
No, it's broken.
Should I turn it off?
Kath's gonna have to do it manually.
Sorry, Flame. Thanks, Noob. I had a cat on my lap.
Hey, there we go.
Will that turn off by itself?
No, I'll have to do it. Why is that not working?
Mind your eyes.
I expect Cloudflare's gone the game. This week has been a bizarre week of things not working. What did it start off with? What was the first thing of the week that didn't work?
Going out without a mask.
Going out without a mask, that didn't work. That still doesn't work really, but still, there you go.
That's 30
Oh,
seconds.
one more screw. There you go, you've had your 30 seconds there. There, you had your light. Ooh, actually, it's not too bad. That's relatively clean. There's a few marks in there. You can see there's a little bit of dust. I'm not sure how well that's coming up on the camera. So we'll do the same thing again. Give it a very light dusting with the contact cleaner. We'll use our microfiber this time, because if there is any dust on there, the microfiber will eat that up. And when this is done, it's going to leave a kind of like a weird sheen on the card after. So then what we're going to do...
You've got completely off what you were talking about just now.
What was I talking about now?
Things that got broken
Oh yeah,
this week.
things that got broken this week, sorry, yeah.
Relationship.
So Noob's relationship, my relationship with my waistband, that's losing the battle.
Oh, he's got to put an elastic band on his button.
I broke the button off my jeans this week. I'm going to put... I might sue the government for making me stay indoors under lockdown and making me put on weight and being a fatty. You know. Anyway, so there's that done. So that's clean now. So what we could do is I can actually just demonstrate how good WD-40 is at making this stuff look like new. So ideally try not to get it everywhere. So that's what you need, just a tiny little spritz in the middle there. And then actually, what cloth shall I use? Actually, I'll use another bit of blue roll. With your blue roll, just spread it around. And basically use it like a polish. It goes on really well and it looks amazing. And then, oh my god, it looks like Grit Lush or something. And just take off as much of the residue as you can, go over it a few times. You won't actually take off more than it actually needs to kind of rejuvenate itself, but look at that now. Hopefully you can see how nice that actually looks. It does look like it's pretty much brand spanking new. There you can see the light on there. So it gets rid of all the fingerprints and all the marks, all that kind of stuff. I'll do the same on the back. No one's ever going to see this part, but I know it's there, so I'm going to do it.
I need paying this week. I've got to go right around there.
And there's another super chat from Glenn, who's donated £4.20. Now, is that the famous 420? As in the penal code in the United States of America. If it is, that's awesome. Actually, I'm going to use the microfiber on this part because it's a bit more difficult to see and a bit more difficult to use. because I'm using a tissue, because there are some edges on here, actually it did start leaving some residue. But now that looks absolutely brilliant. So that looks pretty much like brand new. So by now, the rest of this is dried off pretty much. Now we'll do the back as well, just to be thorough.
Did you Dave Aikens did one as well? You didn't say that one.
David Aikens did what?
Super chat.
Oh, did he? Oh, sorry, I didn't see that. I didn't look up.
It's because it came in at the same time.
I do apologise. David Aiken has also done a super chat and says 5 times the value of Dave Burns' stream. Wow, that's just kicking the tyres, that is. Bad, bad people. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Again, using a brush like this is probably not the best of ideas. Potentially there could be a lot of static build-up. And like all things, when you're doing any form of DIY, whether it's in the house, whether it's in the car, whether it's in your computer, you should never ever do anything or touch anything that you cannot afford to break. If there ever comes to a point where it's literally you look in your bank balance and you think, right, if I damage this graphics card, there is impossible that I can use my computer without getting a loan or whatever, don't do it. If there's ever a time like that, never do it. I'm the same with anything I've got. If I can afford to replace it, I'll have a go at fixing it, or I'll tinker with it. But if I can't afford to, I won't. And I think that is a very, very good way to be in general, in everything you do. Now, a good thing to do as well is to make sure you clean up the slots where the graphics card actually fits into the computer, because those actually do tarnish after a while, and they are, well, I think they're supposed to be gold, but quite often I think they use copper and maybe some plating techniques as well. So they are prone to tarnish. So just give them a little wipe over. Make sure they're all nice and clean.
The best RC asked, how much do you reckon I could get?
They were looking pretty good.
How much do you reckon I could get for a 2 gig GTX 770?
The best RC says, how much do you reckon I could get for a 2 gig GTX 770? I don't know. That is a tough one. I'm not really seeing many of those cards recently. 770 for 2 gig, I don't know. It's one of those things, depending on the model of it. If it's a really nice model, like a Strix type card, or it's got some form of RGB, or it just looks nice, you probably get a lot for it. If it's not a particularly nice looking card, it's difficult. I would say in the UK, a 2 gig GTX 770, probably, I don't know, 20, 30 pounds. It's not really what I would say most people are going to be looking for. It's a little bit underpowered, as in performance wise, but actually takes up a lot of power in the computer. So yeah, Glenn's answered there saying 2 gig is a hard sell these days. That is definitely, I would say your best thing to do if you're in the UK, go to CEX and go onto their site and just see what value they give you for it. Quite often for those kind of cards, with the lower value ones, they'll actually pay out more than what the card is worth, and then try and flog it on to people for a lot more. So I would definitely.
50 quid. CEX sells from for it.
So 50 quid. So there actually does appear to be actually CEX for 50, buy it nows for 50. So yeah, I was 20 to 30. It'd be what I would pay personally, but it appears there are people that will spend considerably more on that type of card, which fair play to them. Right, so we've done this part of the card now, so we put that to one side.
Captain Meat would like you to do his back because
Done the back plate.
Thoroughly.
I've got to do his back.
Because you were rubbing so thoroughly.
Oh right, okay. I am very good at back rubbing.
He's had years of practice.
Many years of practice with calf.
Not so much practice recently.
No, recently because of the Q-links, calf's been falling asleep very quickly, and has not had the necessity for me to rub her back all night long. Worth their weight in gold, those things, they genuinely are. Save me a fortune in shrinks bills and also in time wasted rubbing someone's back.
You're horrible. Gary Sorry, sciatica.
And that actually looks pretty darn clean. So we've already given this a bit of a blast, so that's all right.
Gary says an ink eraser works well to clean contacts, like on racing.
Oh yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, we used to do that all the time. Use a pencil rubber or an eraser on electrical contacts to clean them up. That's really good.
Matchbox racing.
Like Race and Chase and Scalextrics and all those kinds of things from many moons ago. Now, for this particular bit, the shroud, because it's plastic, I don't really want to use any of the kind of more harsher stuff on it to begin with. So I'm going to use the Wins glass cleaner. This is like a foaming cleaner, so it really gets into all the kind of nooks and crannies.
Do you use WD-40 on back rubs?
No, WD-40 doesn't get used on back rubs. Now this is perfect now with the brush, because you can get right into those little bits that you'd otherwise miss with a cloth, especially on graphics cards, because there's all these little vents and grooves and bits and pieces, and you can pretty much guarantee there's going to be something in there which you're going to overlook. So this gets right into all the bits.
Burns is applying his temporary filling.
Oh dear.
He needs a tough brush to get into his nooks and crannies.
He definitely, hangover and doing dentistry, you are not having a good day.
No, that's David Aiken's got the hangover.
Oh sorry, yeah, David Burns.
Mr. Burns.
Gets too confusing. Mr. Burns?
Live back rub on next stream. Misra, is there any special way to clean heat sinks?
Is there a special way to clean
Or is
heat sinks?
compressed air and a brush good enough? That's what I think.
It depends. If it's just dirt and grime, then yeah, probably a bit of an agitation as well with something might be useful just to get the dirt out. Some people I know have used things like Brasso, which is basically a cleaner for metal. There's actually a really good one, Autoglim company, do basically car stuff. They do their metal cleaner, which is really good, and actually does help prevent rusting, but also it's got a very, very minimal abrasive in there, so actually if you've got any imperfections in your cooler, it will actually kind of smooth it down. It's only kind of micron, like nanoparticle size, so you're not going to take a load off. It's not like you're taking sandpaper to it or anything, but it's yeah, it can get rid of any irregularities which otherwise would be taken up by the heatsink paste. Matthew Day says the GTX 770 uses much more power than a 1050, but is much more powerful.
Not much, but just more.
Yeah. I can't believe those graphics cards are like 50, 60 quid.
Ninja said with the virus everything is still kind of inflated.
There is a lot of price inflation.
A GTX 750 Ti, for example, is still around £50 used.
So there is the shroud. Not the shroud, a shroud. And that's actually come up pretty well. There's a few little marks on it, but overall not too bad at all. So that is done.
Oh, you're gonna put it on
and it's
glasses.
Tonight the news at 10. That's good because it's 4 minutes to 10.
Oh wow, you should have been Timmy Mallet.
Timmy Mallet. Yeah.
What's it called?
Wackaday, wasn't it? What's the word association game? You can't. Let me know in the comments. What was the game on Wackaday where he had the Mallet's Mallet. Of course it was. Oh, Mallet's Mallet word association game. No pauses, hesitations. Donk donk. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, you're in good company because I generally don't. So we're done here. So now it's time to.
It's 4 minutes to 5, so you'll have to do the 5 o'clock news for her letter.
All right. Okay. Okay. Noob says, I thought Kath was about to say Jimmy Savile. You can't say Jimmy Savile, you get demonetised.
What's grey and full of dust?
My hair?
Mallet's Mallet.
Mallet's Mallet, good one. Number 4, see if this works.
Is that going to work?
Work?
I'll see if
See if my Logitech camera's working. So do some, oh, yes, it is working. So I'm going to put the heat paste on now. There we go. That's a pretty good view. I think you can see clearly now the rain is cleared. Oh, crap. Oh, echo. Sorry. There we go. Is that better? Are they upset now, Kath, or is it okay?
It seems to have gone down.
Massive echo. Is it gone? Echo. Better? Good. Sorry. Better. Yep. It's okay. It's a like. If you hear me or Kath say it's a like, there's a reason behind it. It's because we've got a lovely person who watches our YouTube channel, and I'm pretty confident that English is not their first language. So on every video, they click on like, and they also put in the comments, it's a like, and also some other English words which mean I like or something. Can you remember what it was, Kath?
I know who it is. Taz.
Oh yeah, Taz, of course. I was thinking. Yeah.
You weren't thinking.
I was multitasking, and unfortunately it wasn't happening. So I'm going to use the nozzle like I did in the other video and just spread that around a little bit.
Right. Do you want to go out?
Try and get it right to the edges. Which actually, for normal people in a normal situation, this would actually be very, very straightforward thing to do. But because of the angle of the studio lights in here at the moment, I'm just getting some weird ass reflections. So I can't really see what is going on or whether I'm covering it, because the reflection is exactly the same colour as the paste. So I'm not sure whether I'm covering. Let's have a look. On certain angles the chip actually goes like a white colour or a grey colour. On other angles it goes like a dark black mirror finish. So hopefully this will be alright. Arctic paste is actually relatively low viscosity, so that means that it will mould to the shape of what it needs to be. So you're probably wondering about the air gaps and kind of things like that, like the peaks and troughs. But when you get some compression on there, actually it will spread out a little bit and it'll be absolutely fine. I've done I wouldn't say hundreds. Actually, probably is hundreds. I've done hundreds of graphics card and CPU installations. And I've used all kinds of different methods, and generally I've never had a problem. This will definitely have a very, very small amount of overspill. I'm pretty much guaranteed that is going to be a thing, but I'm not overly concerned about it. Now, as you can see, where the electrical contact cleaner has been, it's left this kind of dull matte finish on the GPU. Now what you could do at this point is you could actually put some of the WD-40 on there, just to, actually I'll show you now as a comparison, being that you can see it quite nicely on that camera angle. So if you take into consideration the colour of the PCB in this area, which hopefully you can see.
Misses the echo.
Stupid boy.
The noob.
The noob.
I'm so British.
So looking at the card, you can see it's kind of like a matte finish on this side. So I'm going to spray a little bit of WD-40 on this side. Again, it's not hazardous to the card, and also it does give it a nice sheen, just so you can see what it looks like.
Len Dogger. What GPU is this, Mike?
This is an RX 580. So I probably put a bit too much on there. So if you're putting any WD-40 on, the last thing you want to do is to turn the graphics card on in the foreseeable future until it's kind of evaporated more so. If you blow on it or get hairdryer on it, it will evaporate a little bit quicker. Or you can just use a little bit of blue roll and that will remove any excess.
GPU is ready for the water block.
It is.
Who said that?
That'd be a letter. I'd imagine a letter uses WD-40 or some other protectant on their PCBs before she does the water cooling, just in case of any leaks, because not only is WD-40 kind of like a protectant, because of the layer that it leaves, it can actually prevent water damage after the fact. So you could actually put it on there and it would be beneficial. So hopefully, I'm not sure if you can see how well that's turned out, but you can see one end is definitely shinier than the other. You probably can, yeah, actually, can you? There's a little bit of a gleam. You see the reflection on the board. If I wiggle it, see there? Yeah, that's it. So if I hold it on that angle where it's most reflective, which I think is there, and if I move it along, you should see the reflection stop at one point. So you can see where it's shinier. It's not a very good example there, but if you do it all the way over, basically it just makes the card look newer, which can be beneficial.
Trooper C said, just had to RMA my 2060 KO from Scan UK. I paid £352 and it's £290 on Amazon. Not only that, it was faulty, so I'm stuck without a computer. Thank God you can entertain me, Mike.
I just caught the last bit of that comment about a thing being returned, and from Trooper C, just had to RMA my 2060 KO from Scan UK. I paid £352 and it's $290 on Amazon. Not only that, it was faulty, so I'm stuck without a computer. Thank God you can entertain me, Mike. I'm glad to help. Ironboy123 says it looks good to me. British Noob says I would like to take a little bit of overspill rather than not enough. Oh, that must be down to the paste.
Yeah, they all said you put too much on.
Put some plastic over the paste. Mike should enable TTS for donations. If I knew what that was, I would probably agree, possibly.
Dave Burns has done his filling.
Yay! Well done, Dave Burns.
Does he want a toffee?
Yeah. Get the toffees out for Dave. So now we can put this bit back together. If I can remember where the hell that plugs into. Oh yeah, I remember why this was a pain in the butt now, because the replacement fans that came through from Alibaba or AliExpress or wherever the hell it was, the cabling on it was a little bit on the long side.
Mizra said,
So,
what should we do with the thermal pads when repasting? Do we reuse them or get new ones? What do you think?
Thermal pads, as long as they're in good condition and they're not showing any real signs of aging, I would definitely reuse them. Let's get one of the lugs lined up.
The Best RC said, thanks for the discount on premium CD keys. Running Windows with a legit key for the first time in 10 years.
Brilliant. Well, I'm glad it was useful. A lot of people, actually, this is probably going to head into the territory that I really didn't want to go into, but I probably will anyway, so what the hell, you know me. The premium CD keys thing. A lot of people say to me, Mike, premium CD keys have been brilliant, thank you very much, I've saved loads of money, etc, etc. Which is awesome. We really do like that, and I love to hear the feedback on it, because
we find them very good.
Yeah, I find them to be good. I've used them on numerous builds and for myself and customers and all that kind of stuff. I've always found them to be really good. Now, I was approached by another, let's say, well-known CD key supplier, and they said, we would like to work with you and we would like to give you a considerable amount of money to promote our products. And my initial reaction to them was, thank you very much for considering me, that's very kind of you. Unfortunately, I do work with premium CD keys and I find them to be really good, really reliable, and best of all, they're probably one of the cheapest on the market, whilst also being reliable. And their response to me was one which actually, well, I would say I was shocked by, but I'm not really. Their kind of retort was, yes, but you can make more money with us. Immediately I'm like, I'm partially shocked, not massively, because I know what the world is like, etc, etc. But they're like, well, yeah, but we can give you more commission than they can. It's like, well, firstly, you don't know how much commission I'm getting, and to be honest with you, I can tell you the commission isn't a lot, and being that the CD keys are very inexpensive, it would be a very small amount of commission anyway. But that would...
We put it out there, we're not sponsored by them.
Yeah.
They're sponsored us at the beginning.
We are not, I repeat, we are not sponsored by Premium CD Keys. We are an affiliate of them, but we are not sponsored by them. They do not pay me to mention anything other than they did in the original paid review, which was basically they paid me to try their product, which I did. I found it to be really good, so it worked out well. If I hadn't have found them very good, then I would have basically not used them again, as you'd expect. And do you know what? I just realised what I've done now, and the calf didn't warn me, but I put this back on whilst rabbiting, and what did I forget?
Face.
Nope, the back plate. He forgot to put on the back plate. Hey ho. But anyway, that is, yeah, that was kind of my, what with what's been going on in the PC community news this week. I kind of thought that sharing that would give you some kind of insight that it is a very, very, very widespread thing throughout the industry and everywhere else, really. Which way round does this go? I think it's, oh god, I can't remember which way this went now.
The best RC, if I look for keys elsewhere on Reddit, eBay, etc., they're easily triple the price.
They, yeah, premium CD keys, they don't mess around. They really don't. Of course, if you want to spend more money elsewhere, I'm not going to stop you.
Fluctuate on them, can't they?
Yeah.
A little bit expensive at one point.
Yeah, there was. They did have a slight blip in their pricing. I think it was around about New Year.
It's when Skystalker bought one, wasn't it?
And their prices did just jump up, and their reasoning behind that was because there was keys in short supply, so there was less keys on the market, so the price started getting jacked up. But even so, even with their allegedly jacked up pricing, they were still cheaper than pretty much everywhere else I could find, apart from those shady as hell keys on eBay, which I have used them before, but they've never ever been one of those kind of things where I think it's worked out long term. There's always been a kind of, oh god, I have to claim the money back from the seller and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a pain, it really is.
But we have transferred these over from computers, haven't we?
Sometimes you can. They're not 100% genuine retail keys which follow you everywhere. They are kind of retail OEM grey in between keys, which is why they're cheap, because if you had a real retail key, you can use that on pretty much every PC you ever own as long as you deactivate the previous one, which in some cases, if you're using a lot of PCs or getting through a lot of PCs, might be worth doing. But for most people, a couple of pounds on a key is more than enough.
Noob says that he notices they don't seem to have a lot of stock though. Every time he goes to look at something, there's quite a few things out of stock.
Yeah, they do get through stock very, very quickly. And unfortunately, this back plate is going to need to come off again, and
you were testing them,
as is the cooler. No one mentioned it in the stream. No one said, Mike, you should have put the back plate on first.
Trooper, would you recommend the 5700 XT for a budget around 350?
Truthfully, probably not. Anything from AMD with an X or XT in it is generally not particularly good value for money, in my honest opinion. Anything with XT normally is either overclocked or has been tweaked in some way over the standard edition. With most AMD components, they can be either overclocked or tweaked to perform better than what they're intended to. which is often a much cheaper way of doing it. I've had the 1700X, which was a good chip, but the new XTs, I don't see the point, I really don't. And actually that thermal paste application was pretty much bang on. Shame the backplate wasn't bang on, or even on. That way round.
Ricardo asks, any advice on thermal pads brands?
Aletta would be the person to ask as far as those are concerned. I would certainly go by her recommendations on that. There's way too many screws in this graphics card. Way too many.
It's like a jigsaw puzzle to Jack Teller.
It is a joke. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. Normally, if you're doing this, you'll probably find that it's a lot easier than I'm making it look. Because I'm kind of semi-concentrating on the chat, semi-concentrating on what I'm doing, and also having multiple other conversations in my head with all the other beings that are residing in there as we speak. There are many voices in my head.
Said, did she hear your name?
Yeah, Aletta, speak to the man about thermal pads. Or was it pads or paste? Pads, wasn't it? Ricardo was asking about thermal pads. As far as most of them go, I don't think there's a great deal of difference between any of them. I think they're all relatively similar.
You could say that about the paste, couldn't you?
Well, pastes do differ. Thermal pads, they do have a thermal rating to them, so I would say really, I suppose if you just look for the one with the least resistance in the pad, but then a lot of manufacturers probably won't give you those ratings anyway.
But we find Arctic very good.
Yeah. I think Arctic Cooling actually at one point did sell thermal pads. And I'm pretty sure they did them in two colours. I think they did a pink and a blue.
I'd have pink.
I think the pink one was the better one because it had a better thermal transfer. No, you can't say that, Kath. It's racist. It's not racist, sexist. Sexualist.
Genderist.
Genderist, that's the one.
Ghost Adder said, remember the days of red and blue PCBs on GPUs?
Oh, yeah.
Any colour of the rainbow, really.
Yeah, PCBs used to always be like a really weird colour. I have to reapply the paste a little bit now. Make sure I got all the screws in. It's probably a good idea when you're doing this to actually count the screws in and out.
Matthew Day says it looks like his 7870 looks like a ton of screws have to come out.
Oh dear.
The Innovation Cooling Graphite thermal pads are the best if you want to use them over and over.
Who said that?
Aletta.
Yeah, I've
Thermal Grizzly are too thin and tear easily.
I've got some of the Aurus IC cooling ones actually on the shelf, and I've never got around to, well actually I'll tell you, I've used them once and I didn't find them to be very thermally efficient, which is probably quite a thing to say because there are normally people rave about them, but I actually didn't find it to be particularly good on my particular application anyway.
Iron Boy asks what brand is the card?
Well, this card is a power color, I have to think then. If this ever works again, it'd be a miracle. Let's try and line those up. Oh, that did line up, I think.
Any follow up on the chair, Ghost Adder?
Any follow up on the chair? Yes, comfy.
I've had it all day.
Yeah, Kath has stolen it a little bit. Oh, come on. Why is that not fitting in there? I put a screw in the wrong place again.
Jack Teller's going to get his beauty sleep.
Good night, Jack. Jack's Teller, rather. That flat. Yep, that looks flat to me. That'll do nicely.
Sky said your chair was squeaking today.
My chair was squeaking. What now? This one?
Yeah.
Oh, what, in today's video? Or yesterday's video?
LinkedIn.
Oh, right, okay.
You said it was. You were going to use it.
Matthew Day says, Kath, anywhere near getting the pink chair? Nah. To be honest with you, this chair, I'm going to, even though it was given for a free review, and everything I said in the review still stands, it pisses me off. It really does. The chair is massive. It's so big in comparison with my other chair, which I'm so used to using for the last, how many years? It is ridiculously comfy, there is that. But it's just a pain in the ass. It's so much bigger than my other chair. If you're used to having a big chair around,
it's not
absolutely fine, but
also,
it does take up a lot of room. This is a tiny room. This room's like 12 foot square.
Rid of a chair to compensate.
Yeah, we haven't removed the chair out of the room as well, so it's a small room, and it's a little bit on the big side.
But it's better on my side of my desk than yours.
Yeah, I'm really cramped in on my side, whereas Kath's got a little bit of open space, so she can sit there spinning around like some kind of lunatic.
Like Kylie Minogue.
She is spinning around.
And also,
right, that's all the screws done.
You said it was better for me to be on this side. You moved my desk.
Oh yeah, it's all my fault. Okay, right. Let's get these fans back in and get this all back together.
Tony doesn't like racing chairs because he's tall. He finds them very uncomfortable.
Yeah, a lot of people say that actually. If the taller people do struggle with the racing style chairs for comfort wise. Whereas short persons like myself, we just suffer with seeing over stuff. Right, let's get this back on. Now, which way round does this go? I should remember this. So that is that way.
Alexa said, why do they call them racing chairs when they don't go any faster than any other chair?
Yes.
I said I did go out into the kitchen to let the cat out earlier. And it was quite slow.
Yeah, that is a good point. They should just call them bucket chairs, because that is basically what they are. They're basically a rip-off, aren't they, of racing chairs for cars, which are bucket seats.
Ricardo's. What are they called?
Recaro. Nice set of Recaros. Oh, come on. Tony is 6'3". That's pretty damn tall. Brabant's is in the house, says hi Mike. Hi Kath. Hiya. Kath waved as well.
I did say hi earlier. I think.
Yeah, these aftermarket cooler designs aren't the greatest. So I'm going to tuck that in there. Ugh. Horrid design. Okay, that works. We'll go with that. So we're almost finished. We get the last two screws in, and then we'll give it the final touches. One day I'm going to investigate this card. It's got two switches on there for the BIOS, so it's got recovery BIOS, but I've never ever been able to get the PC to boot successfully with it in the performance BIOS mode. So I'm pretty sure that someone has put a mining style BIOS on here, which I really must check out at some point. So let's get rid of these. And then for the next card, like this has taken, what, best part of an hour and a half.
I thought you'd done the other one.
No, I haven't touched the other one yet. The next one, we're going to do the quick and simple way without messing around, which is handy because I know that I've already done the thermal paste on that one relatively recently. So
Was that your video yesterday?
yeah, that was the video the day before. Oh, that webcam's hot. So we're not going to need that, but we are going to need some WD.
Yesterday? It was released yesterday.
Yeah, it wasn't that card. So all in all, pretty decent. It's clean, but it could be better. So this is where we get the WD on it.
Paul said the chairs had sold out when he checked.
Have they?
Yeah.
Blimey, he must have done well.
And Sky says, does he see leftover screws?
I shouldn't be. I can't see any. There was a little bits of plastic which were like insulation.
The webcam is hot because you're in front of it.
Haha! Who's that, noob?
No, good balance.
So with the WD-40, just give it a liberal application, and then just wipe off the excess. And that is looking pretty sharp.
Do you know of a way to fix a motherboard if the BIOS was accidentally corrupted?
Depends what motherboard it is. Some motherboards can be restored. Yeah, some actually have a BIOS backup which can be used. WD-40 as well, if you use it on metal, if it's got any tarnish on it, it can bring that up as well. So you can use this on the back plate as well.
Tony says, remember to
Or the
leave
IO.
2 weeks after using WD-40 before turning on. We clean our wood burner with it and put it on,
Yeah.
and it does nothing.
Yeah, with the WD-40, we do genuinely use it for our wood burner to clean the stove, to bring it up, and literally we light it the same day, and it's never caught on fire.
It doesn't even smell.
Well, the inside has, but you do get a little bit of a smell from it from time to time, but it's not too bad. So there we go. Look at that. That's got hit the webcam. So
That's
now
great,
it's got actually, that does look really clean, doesn't it? Sparkling. So it's the plastics have been rejuvenated. We've got rid of most of the dust, if not all of it. It's still a little bit greasy. Still a little bit of residue to evaporate. The WD-40 does take a little while. Actually, there's still some in the fans, so I'm going to give that a little bit of a brush with the fan. This is, to be fair, a lot of hassle to do just for a graphics card. But if, like a lot of people in the world at the moment, you're still in lockdown and there's not really a lot else you can do. You can't go to the pub and get absolutely peed at your face. You can't go to the discotheque and boogie.
Discotheque. Simon Arden said you're good at rubbing with that right hand.
It's my left hand.
Roll Cool said it's with the motherboard BIOS thing. Asrock 450M /AC. I tried BIOS reset, still did not fix it.
Oh no, if you've no, the ASRock, it used to be the ASRock boards had a removable BIOS chip, so you could actually buy a chip online, take out your old one and put it back in, but I think they're all soldered now. You could possibly try resoldering it if you feel that way inclined. It's not the easiest of things to do, but it is potentially possible. Alternatively, I would say just try and RMA it to whoever you got it off. If you bought it secondhand, you're screwed, essentially.
Matthew Day said BIOS might be removable, if not, might be possible to use a click programmer if you can get hold of a raw image.
Yeah, you could try programming it. There is a possibility. Most of those things, depending on the price of the board, you're probably best off just trying to RMA it or sell it as spares and repairs. Well, there we go. I think we're pretty much done on this one.
Best RC says, what is the obsession with RGB these days? I feel like they want to put RGB on everything, keyboards, mouses, fans, cases, even seen speakers with them on.
Yeah, everything's RGB. It is in here anyway.
Vacuum isn't.
Our vacuum is probably one of the few things that isn't. We're going to put that. Let's put it there. So we'll let that one dry off. This card is in pretty decent condition anyway. I repasted it not long ago. It's got a little bit of dust on it, but nothing too bad. So a little bit of warning for the headphone users out there. Hopefully that's woken you up if you've got this open in a tab and you're not watching.
Be back. Tony says RGB t-shirt is a must. Shall I grab your...
Mmm.
Where is that? In your normal wardrobe?
Okay, so this card, like I said, internally is absolutely perfect. It's in very, very good working order. So literally all we need to do with this is to brush out any of the dust from the fans, which there isn't a lot. We've given it a vacuum. It's in actually pretty decent nick. This top shroud on this card is actually metal, which is a very, very rare thing to see. See? Actual metal. Who'd have thought it? And yeah, other than that, it's in pretty decent nick. So I think what we'll do is we'll give it a quick blast with the cleaner. Actually, to make life a little bit easier for myself, just put a little bit on a cloth. That smells really nice. If you like lemony, fresh cleaners, that Wins one is great. And like I said, it does remove any kind of tobacco or cigarette smells, that kind of stuff. That is one of the main features of it. So you can buy something secondhand and it'll be absolutely fine. Such as that monitor. I'm really pleased with that monitor. That's worked out very, very well indeed. So I think this is actually in pretty decent condition. You're going to sort it all out?
How'd you do it?
Put in these batteries in it.
Okay.
So graphics card, we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to plaster it in a bit of WD. Microfiber. And a little bit of a circular motion just to get it in all the nooks and crannies. There's a few tiny little scratches there. Also as well, if you've got something which has got sticky residue, a combination of WD-40, you can also use grease or lard. Weirdly, anything which is sticky, you put lard on it, coconut oil, butter, all those kinds of things, just leave it on there and eventually it'll just wipe off as if it was never on there. So you don't have to worry about using all those harsh chemicals. Just a bit of lard or butter from the fridge does the job. Just a very, very light dusting with WD-40. You don't need a lot, it does go a really long way. And obviously if you do soak it, it's just going to take longer to dry. It'd be a pain. And like Tony said, do give it some time after you've... Is it on?
Yeah. I don't know what I've done in this.
Kath's got my RGB t-shirt.
Courtesy for Tony.
Tony's special.
Tony wanted to say. It's working, isn't it?
Yeah, it reacts to light. Okay, so there we go. There is my RGB style t-shirt. Hey Google, turn off the studio lights. There we go. It is a React to Sound t-shirt, especially designed for the RGB lovers out there.
And you have a matching RGB earring.
And I have a matching RGB earring. Where's the sensor for this? I can't remember. Is it down here? Yeah, it's down here. So this is where there's a little control box in here which registers all the sound and then does the funky stuff on the screen. Anyway, that's enough of that. RGB t-shirt. Available soon from patreon.com.
Mike's unboxing t-shirt.
Glenn says, Jesus, Mike, I remember them from my raving days. Welsh Tony says, not RGB, doesn't have blue.
Doesn't.
Oh dear. Alexa says, I still say that cleaning is all too much work, just hit it with a garden hose and let it dry.
Did say that earlier.
That's not a bad idea. So this is actually, that's in pretty good nick already. So literally all this needed was a quick wipe over and a little dab of the old WD-40, and it looks pretty much like brand new anyway. Absolutely brilliant. So I think that is pretty much it for the cleaning up stuff. I would show you the monitor cleaning up, but that is one of those things you really need to see it to actually kind of get the full gist of it. But hopefully this has given you some ideas of household products you can use, like WD-40 or your glass cleaner or electrical contact cleaner to clean up all your components. Angry Toast says, when's the new advert coming out for it? Ricardo says it's not RGB, it's Pantone. Ricardo says, one clean, one more to go. No, they're both done. Both of them are clean and ready to rock and roll. And actually now the WD-40 is kind of pretty much evaporated totally off that now. If you can see it. It's actually got a really nice sort of satin matte black finish. The plastic looks really, really deep and luxurious, if there is even a thing like that. I don't think the camera's doing it justice, but it is a very, very deep black. Blacks on camera is a really difficult thing to do because mostly the lenses just don't pick up very well, or the ISO exposure compensation goes crazy and starts making everything else super bright around it, which it kind of has a little bit already, I think. But that looks amazing. The colour in that is brilliant. It's got a very, very nice satin sheen. I do like that a lot. And actually, if I put it on to number 4, hopefully you can all see it. Can you see it? I don't know. Did I even press the right button? No, I don't think I did I?
It sure hasn't got me.
Is it switched over? Oh no. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, that the Dual X, you can see it's like really shiny and sparkly. A little bit glossy, but look at the difference on that satin matte black finish. It just looks so deep. It looks quite sophisticated, if that is even the right word. The focal point is somewhere up here, unfortunately. If it ever focuses, it might do. But that does look pretty good. Very clean. Very sharp. You wouldn't think that I'd had basically a vacuum cleaner bag emptied on it, would you? Which is what happened literally about 3 minutes before the stream started. Which I did actually do. I literally vacuumed up and then emptied this over the graphics cards and then rubbed it in.
Because I emptied it.
It got to the point at about 8:30 tonight where I'm like, right, what am I going to do in tonight's stream? It was literally that close to the wire, and I did a thumbnail of what I wanted to do for the stream, which I thought, actually, no, I'm not going to do it because this week's been crap enough as it is for a lot of reasons, so I don't want to bring people down, so let's just do something positive and clean up an old graphics card. I think it's worked out pretty well.
You are pretty OCD. I comfort in.
Yeah, I do find comfort in cleaning, so if any of you out there are in a similar position and you your stress levels are a bit high, firstly, get a Q-Link, that does help. Q-Link, links in the video description. Snake oil available to wear around your neck if you wish to.
A little bit more expensive than tinfoil.
Yeah, it's the most expensive tinfoil you're ever going to wear. But it does wonders, so we won't say too much more about that.
So roll call.
Roll call?
Okay, my power went when I was updating the BIOS, just that. Just unlucky.
Oh dear.
You've given, I already replaced it, but was wondering of a way to recover the broken one.
Don't know. Not sure. Snoop says, I'm so close to getting that deep Q-Link shield. There's a lot of it about at the moment. An awful lot of it.
To be fair, George and Angel haven't really noticed much yet, have they?
Yeah.
They've only just started wearing it.
This is very true. What was that? Someone else a question just now. I was looking. Angry Doe says, looks okay, could do with some branding on it. Yeah, Mike's unboxing.
David Aikens, how to clean up your search history next week.
Yeah. G-Man Bam, any recommendations for micro ATX motherboards to pair with a Ryzen 3 3200G? Anything. Literally anything on the market at all will be absolutely fine for that. Anything from the Asus A320M-K, the MSI A320-M, I think it is. There's weird names. But yeah, basically any motherboard on the planet will be absolutely fine for that. Absolutely any motherboard will be fine for that. It's not a demanding chip at all. Depends what you need RGB wise, but if you want micro ATX, you can just get the cheapest one possible.
So encouraged.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. What else was I going to say? There was something else I was going to say. What else was I going to say? My brain has gone completely mad. Yeah. Ghost Hunter says, he getting paid for this? T-shirts already available. Oh yes.
Oh, has he got his RGB pajamas?
Yeah, what was it? Oh yeah, that was I've come across a weird thing with the graphics card today. Talking about all the graphics card cleaning and stuff. I bought the Gigabyte RX 570 Gaming 4G, which some of you may have seen in the video yesterday, which I released, and we basically took it apart and repasted it. It's a weird card. If I install the latest Adrenaline version of the driver, it limits the clock speed for some reason to 1200 megahertz. Bang on. Exactly 1200 megahertz. If I run something like Furmark, it locks it down at like 850, which Furmark does weird things to clocks anyway because of it's designed as a stress test. So clocks will automatically drop down for stability, but anyway, I digress. So with that in mind, I uninstalled all of the AMD software, let Windows take control of everything, chipset drivers, graphics drivers, the whole shooting match. And weirdly, now the card does 1344, which is 100 megahertz higher than it should be. The memory is now clocked at 1750, which it should be lower than that as well. And the card actually runs better with the Microsoft drivers than it does with the AMD drivers. Go figure. Has anyone else had that or experienced it? Is this a weird anomaly, or is it time for us now to maybe consider ditching AMD drivers altogether for all the bloat and stuff they put in with them and for the sometimes glitchiness of them, and actually go back to Microsoft's own drivers? I would appreciate it for any of you that are regulars on our Discord, or even if you are regulars to the channel and you comment a lot, uninstall your AMD drivers and do the latest Windows updates. This is on version 20.04. I'm pretty sure it's something to do with the hardware scheduling, which is now in Windows. I don't know if it is for sure, but for some reason the Windows AMD driver seems to be better than AMD's own Catalyst, Adrenaline driver. So there's a little bit of homework for you all. If you can have a look into that, see what your findings are, see if it actually makes your graphics card faster. It certainly made mine faster, weirdly. I don't know why. Very confusing.
Aletta says Ryzen 3 3200Gs would be fun to skip down at the lake. She got
Aletta is being very, very hurtful.
She got her 1600 to skip 7 times.
A Ryzen 3 3200G is a great little processor, and there's a lot of people, especially those south of the border, who don't have tons of money, and for them getting a 3200G is their way into PC gaming. So to you, all you guys and girls out there who are starting out at the bottom level, getting into PC gaming, or Maybe you've just got your first job or a paper round or whatever it is, and that's all you can afford, or that's all that's available in your country. Let's not forget that there's a lot of places, especially in the South Americas, where actually getting components is super, super difficult. So if that's all you can buy and that's what gets you game in, good on you, more power to you. But alternatively, if you've got more money than sense, if you want to go and skim it down the lake, then you're more than welcome to. And if you do, please send me pictures. I would appreciate that.
Ladios.
I don't know. Alexa says, don't take me serious. I never do. Glenn says, I'm still on 22.2, but the later ones have been a little bit buggy for me. That's interesting. Welsh Tony says, Windows update screwed my AMD GPU drivers. That's unusual, but it happens, it happens. British Noob says, AMD will one day announce they've made a good driver.
Go up a bit more.
And that's when Cyberpunk will be released. G-Man Bam, that's really difficult for me to say, says, thanks, I think I'm going to go with the Gigabyte B450M. That's a good choice. A320 is at least, there's your last resort really. B450M is a good choice. Ghost Hunter says, ban new please.
One above that.
Ladios says, Mike, I'm currently cleaning my old Gigabyte 780 Ti. Windforce to sell it on Facebook Marketplace. What price should I sell it, please? In euros. Now, it depends if you've got the box. If you've got the box, especially for the 780 Ti Windforce, if that's the, I think that's a triple fan card, isn't it? If I remember rightly. One of the few triple fan cards on the 780 Ti. I think Zotac did one as well, possibly. But the 780 Ti still does call for a little bit of money. If it's got the original box as well, it is almost like a classic component. So you could get really, really kind of insane money for it. Realistically, a 780 Ti, it's a tough one. It is a tough one. I would say anywhere between maybe 100 to possibly even 200 euros, depending on the condition and the rarity of the model, because that could quite easily be a collector's model. You may find you get it even more for that. It's always going to be a seller's market. No, the other one. It's always going to be a buyer's market. People will always pay whatever they want to pay for something. If they want it bad enough, they'll pay what they have to get it, especially on those older things which are no longer in production. So a 780 Ti is actually still quite a potent player, even though it does drink power like it's going out of fashion. It's still a decent card. It can still compete with things like a 970 quite easily, and they still do go for kind of anywhere between the sort of, well, if you're lucky, £50 up to 150 mark. So
It has the box and 3 fans, yes.
yeah, so triple fan with the box. I would put it on for about 200 euros and see what you get back. I don't know what it cost you, what you think it's worth, but I would aim around the 200 euros mark, or better still, put it into eBay in your neck of the woods and see what sold prices are like and see what people are getting for it. You may find that if it's one of the really super rare models, you might get 300 or more euros for it easily. And if it's in the box as well, it can be a collector's item. So that's, I always keep all the boxes for everything I buy, just in case I keep it long enough to make it worth money. There's some graphics cards which I've had over the years, and motherboards as well, processors, which I wish to God I would have kept the boxes and the chip, and then rather than selling it on for some ridiculous amount of money, I should just put it somewhere safe, keep in the loft or something, and they'd be worth a fortune now. An old Intel BX440 chipset with an Intel slot 1, yeah, it was slot 1, wasn't it? Yeah, with a slot 1 processor, like a 400 or something, would be absolutely brilliant.
What is that?
Oh, there goes my fan revving up. And that's one thing I found with the drivers now. When Windows goes into sleep mode, randomly the fans will spin up to 100%.
Ghost Dad said the day he got his GPU he had driver issues, and that's how he found your channel.
Oh. A lot of people find us in that way. A lot of, yeah, got the 3-fanned. Yeah, I'd be interested. Let us know how much you get for that card when you put it on. That's pretty cool. Dave Burns is off. He's going for a stream a little bit later. So IKEA Shadow, look him up on Twitch.
Subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe, like, and all that other sort of stuff. Whatever happens on Twitch, I don't know. I'm a noob.
Aussie boy.
Aussie boy. Who said that? Oh, good day. Good day.
No, up. Little bit.
Oh yeah.
It's not really a question.
Aussie boy. Hi Mike, thanks for all your info. It's helped me heaps, and I've done 2 builds last month.
Can you
Amazing.
say an Australian accent? I like Australian accents.
I've got to say it.
Yeah, you say it because I like them.
Yeah, but I can't do Australian accent. I can't really. Let me see. Aussie boy, I do apologise for this, and anyone else who's Australian or even South African, because my accent could go all over the place with this.
Oh, but I love it.
Aussie boy. I'm trying to read it now to see how I can do this in Australian, and I'm really...
My Siri is Australian.
No, I can't do it. I'm not going to embarrass myself that much to do it. And I respect the Australians far too much to try and have a go at trying to do their accent.
Laughing. Oh.
Go Mike.
Trooper C found your channel.
Yeah.
Cleaning USB type C ports.
Oh, cleaning the USB Type-C ports been a brilliant one. That has generated so many viewers and so many subscribers for something which was... I did it at the point, when I was doing it, I was like, why am I doing this? I've just done this from micro USB, and it's exactly the same thing. But you'd be surprised at how many people don't kind of put the link together and think, oh yeah, it's a port, clean it out. So I could do one for USB, Type A, Type C, mini USB, micro USB, USB Type C, all those different types of connectors. So I could do one video for each one, and each video would get tons and tons of views. So I might have to try and do that. Glenn, unfortunately, will need some of the blue roll that we picked up from Motor Parts, because he is actually pissing myself. Well, himself, but you know what I mean. Ghost Seller says, Mike, you're going to be doing a review on the Mi Band 5. I don't know. That's a difficult one. Kath keeps on nagging me to get one, and it's one of those things, if I get it and do the review, it will get views. But truthfully, my heart isn't in it. It really isn't. It might be nice to see. I wouldn't go out of my way to buy one. If somebody from GearBest or whatever says, Mike, do you want me to send you one of these for review? Then yeah, I would obviously do it because it's worth doing. But I don't know whether I would spend my own money. I don't think there's that much of an improvement over the 5 than there is the 4 to warrant it. And they seem to do it every year now, or every kind of 18 months there's a new Mi Band out. And it's just incremental things. They don't really get much better. And they're still so far away from the reliability and the operation of the Apple Watch, which still, in my opinion, is possibly one of the best fitness tracker stroke watches I've ever used.
But
it really
expensive,
is. But you paid for it, yeah.
Because you have to buy the phone to go with it.
This is true.
And the Fitbit is really letting people down.
Ladios says, Mike, this morning I sold an old i7 3770 quad core for €40. Was it a bad deal? It's just been sitting in my cupboard for 5 years. If it's just been sitting in your cupboard for 5 years, then yeah, it's money. Whether or not it's €40 worth or not, 3770 is pretty decent. Again, I'm not really up on those levels of chips, but that sounds like a good price for the buyer. Ghost that is true, Mike. I respect that. Tony says Apple shill. But the views. That is it. This tonight's stream was going to be about all the stuff which has been going on in YouTube this week, the alleged stuff which has been going on with MSI, and it'd be so easy to get involved with that and have a big thumbnail with some kind of gory title on there, which actually, in complete transparency, I did start doing, and I was going to do that. That was going to be the subject of tonight's stream. But I thought, I'm just doing it to get views, and it's nice to get the views, don't get me wrong. I love getting more views or having a good stream, all that kind of stuff. It is fantastic and it gives you a real boost. But ultimately, once the smoke has cleared and the dust is settled and all that kind of stuff, ultimately you're left with your channel and what you are and what you do. So being more true to myself rather than just kind of regurgitating shock and drama in the internet kind of makes more sense, I think, long term anyway. Roll Call XP is giving us $2 and says, enjoy your channel. Thank you. Well, thank you. Matthew Day says, my 3770 cost me a good bit more. Glenn says 3770Ks on eBay go upwards of £80. So £80 is what, about 87 euros, I think. It's very, very close. There's not a lot in it. So yeah, you've done pretty well there. Okay, all right, Ghost Adder, but the views. So how much are they saying? The Mi Band 5 is how much is it? £20, 25 pounds. Go on in, Kath, order me a Mi Band 5. That's your job for tomorrow. There you go. For the sake of 20 to 25 pounds, we'll review the Mi Band 5 and see what's going on.
Apple, you need an Apple Watch, so no matter how cheap the watch itself is, you have to have the phone. Because that's the reason you're in Apple now.
Yeah, that is true.
Fitbits, they're like 100, 150. Mi Bands always get good reviews. As in...
Yeah, true. G-Man Bam says, what? G-Man Bam? Why am I struggling with that so much?
I know, I do.
What GPU would you recommend for a beginner PC builder on a budget? That is a very open-ended question. Questions like that are best off answered in our Discord chat server, which conveniently you can join from the link which Kath is about to post in the video chat.
Which one?
Discord.
Okay.
A GPU for a beginner PC builder on a budget is always a difficult one. And also you have to take into consideration if it's new or used, and then the pros and cons of each individual. So realistically, as things stand at the moment, if you're buying brand spanking new, depending on which country you're in again, that has a massive effect on pricing. But for us at the moment in the UK, if you're looking at entry level, 1650 Super or RX 570, RX 590, maybe a RX 5500 kind of level, depending where you are. Aletta Liana says, I only watch the tech tubers I trust and trust the tech tubers I watch. Oh, thank you. I think there's a compliment in there somewhere.
Best RC, I'll do that. Although I'm banned, so I can't.
Who's banned?
I'm banned from Hot UK deals. But Best RC said they usually have deals on there.
Ah, right, yeah.
But I'm banned, so.
Yeah, UK Hot Deals is really good. The trouble with UK Hot Deals is they don't have eBuyer on there anymore, which eBuyer actually do really good pricing. So even when you get notified of prices, you don't always get notified of the eBuyer ones, which is a real shame. Gulag Spectator, sorry I'm late, haha. That's quite a dark name. I just realised how dark of a name that is. Gulag Spectator. Most people probably don't realise what a gulag is. I suggest you look it up. Ah, dear. Obod Folly says, I need to know how to install Thermaltake UX100 in MSI B450 Tomahawk Max, and how can I control RGB on the motherboard? Right, easy answer to that one. The Thermaltake UX100 is exactly the same as the Sahara Iced Rainbow, pretty much, apart from the RGB side of it, so you can watch the videos from that. If you do a search on Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, I think actually I did the UX100 installation as well. I'm pretty sure I did at some point or other. But it's a relatively straightforward task again, exactly the same as the Sahara version, the Ice Rainbow, which I did very, very recently. Tomahawk Max is not going to be able to control the RGB on that cooler, no matter what you do. Ain't going to happen. Tomahawk's 12 volt RGB, the Thermaltake UX100 is 5 volts addressable RGB. Totally incompatible system, so unfortunately you will need some form of controller, or hopefully your case has got a built-in controller which maybe you can synchronize with. Hopefully that answers your question. Welsh Tony says they don't have eBuyer because they can't get affiliate links to make money. There is that to it as well. The main reason why eBuyer aren't on UK Hot Deals is because people were posting that worked at eBuyer and were deliberately posting deals which had extremely limited stock or were not deals at all, and basically just to drive traffic to the site. So that is deemed as being a very bad thing on UK Hot Deals, so they got kicked out for it, as have, I think, possibly Costco did at one point as well, but I think they're back now. There was another UK large PC retailer which also got kicked out for the same reason. So yeah. Gulag Spectator says, I'm from near where you said you film. So that could be somewhere in Cardiff, I would imagine. Possibly. Glenn says, cheers Mike. Enjoy the rest of the stream, folks. I'm out. Good night. Good night, Glenn. Sleep well. Gulag Spencer says, don't take that out of context, please. Okay. Ricardo says, good night, everyone. Was there... Oh, Gulag says, Bristol, in case you're wondering. Okay, I got it. Alright, Mike. So, Abel Follow says, thank you for your video. I saw it and you were amazing because I plug in my CPU cooler because I learned it from your video. Awesome. Good job. And my cooler is Thermaltake UX200, not the UX100. Is it good? The UX200, I don't know what that is actually. I'll have to look that one up, but quite possibly. But we won't be doing that now, and I think it's probably going to be about time we wrap things up. It's 11 o'clock. We've been doing this for 2 hours now, which I'm trying to get around that sort of 2 hour limit. Yeah, I think that pretty much does it. There is going to be a live stream from some of our Discord members on IKEA Shadow's Twitch, that's the one. So go on to Twitch and look out for IKEA Shadow, or just Shadow, that's probably easier. Someone might put a link in a minute, I don't know. If you can, put it on there. But hopefully you've all had a moderately entertaining evening with us. Thank you for joining us. Thank you all for the super chats. Don't forget, if you can, if you haven't already, click on the like button before you leave. Really helps with the YouTube algorithm. If there's something you've seen and you didn't like or you disagree with, click on the dislike button, but do let me know in the comments what you disliked so we can refrain from doing that again. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you've all had a good one. We will see you in next Saturday's live stream, and also obviously we do a video weekly or daily, weekly? Every weekday, that's the one I was looking for. So we do videos Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Saturdays is the stream, and Sunday we have a day off, or at least give you guys a day off.
Booyah's just come in. Do you want to quickly do that?
Calf. Booyah's come in, so let's quickly answer his question. Hey Mike, pairing a GTX 1650 with a Ryzen 3 3200G is good, or should I go for RX 570 rather than this? RX 750 is probably a little bit faster. If you've got a Ryzen 3 3200G, if you've already got it, then I get it, but if you haven't bought the processor already, maybe give up the Ryzen 3 3200G for maybe one of the newer Ryzen 3 3100s or 3300X, which will be roughly the same price depending where you live. Anyway, if you've got any more comments, questions, or anything you want to discuss, join us on our Discord chat. But in the meantime, I've been Mike. This is Mike's unboxing, reviews, and how-to, and we'll catch you in the very next live stream. Thanks for watching.